And so obviously I'm running into a bomb shelter. There's humans trying to shoot rockets at me and build tunnels to get under my house and destroy me and rape me and my family. So I'm like, wait a minute. IDF's got to go in there for sure. Our soldiers must go in there. My brothers must go in there. Stop humans from shooting rockets at innocent civilians. Stop terror tunnels and stop the whole facade called Gaza, which has become like just an extension of the Iranian jihadist regime, paying poor Gazans like very few dollars to be the mules and the front runners for their ideologies. So this is like a bad trip we found ourselves in. I think the IDF is going to do an amazing job at clearing Gaza out. I think that we need to immediately, as the Jewish people, have a strong show of compassion and love towards displaced Gazans. You know, that they should be put into care, ecological villages. Whatever it is, I expect my Jewish brothers and sisters to have a voice of compassion for the displaced Gazans as well, which you don't see as much, which we need to see a little bit more of. Be like, wait a minute. Are there kids?
Do you see a call for the surrounding?
Well, Israel's now like saying like, okay, we're gonna destroy XYZ neighborhoods, so everyone leave, right? And Hamas is saying, whoever leaves dies, and they actually worship death. They're like, oh, we want to die. Like if you kill me, that's my religious purpose.
It's a win.
Can you tell? Everyone calls it a death cult. What does that mean exactly? I know
Religion
like
of
suicide bombings
No.
and like thinking more about the afterlife than this life. But do you have any insight into death cult phrasing?
Yes, I mean I've spent so much time in the last months in ChatGPT 4 learning about Islam and the founding of what's going on and what they believe in and like all their different things, and it really does come down to that there's a certain group within Islam that glorifies death as being the highest level of reality. To die for letting other people know that you have no freedom besides Allah is the greatest level of religious freedom they can get to. Whoa, that's a scary, dangerous trip. So we have to realize that all humans are not equal right now, because let's say I live in Queens. That may mean I live next to someone who wakes up every day thinking that I have to die for him to find salvation. And that becomes a little awkward, and we have to have a human conversation about this. Yes.
There's no real compromise there. It's a conflict without a real resolution.
This is where the strong hand. This is where the strong hand has to come in, and people have to realize you don't kill Jews anymore. You don't mess around with Jews. We have the IDF, and we have the Mossad. It's not a conversation anymore to hurt a Jew, harm a Jew, or to destroy a Jew.
And I think that's where a lot of the anti-Semitism pops their head, because I think most people are uncomfortable with that idea. I think most people are uncomfortable with the idea that Jews would stand up for themselves, because Jews are sort of like supposed to die. That's kind of the narrative that.
Yes, according to their religions, we were supposed to have died. According to Christianity and according to Islam, we were not supposed to be here today. We're not supposed to be in our homeland. We're not supposed to be in the most innovative place on the entire planet.
You are saying in general to the world at large that sees us as it's totally excusable for Jews to die. There's like Jews are supposed to be sheepish.
Yeah,
they're supposed to just walk into the ovens.
Right.
And the idea of us asserting ourselves goes against that perception.
Yeah.
And you're saying deeper that Jews are not supposed to exist. We are the we are like the stick in the whole notion of we're this people that survive in the face of these odds, and it doesn't make sense. Christianity and Islam were supposed to replace Judaism, and it just doesn't, and that shakes the theologies to their core.
Ruin their party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk, and we were talking about here, like there's a time for peace and there's a time for war, and like right now is the time to show strength and to kill the people trying to kill us.
Every single building and tunnel needs to be demolished completely.
From 40 feet ground up, 40 feet underground,
down
all
and
the way
up
to
the
sky.
whole thing down and up needs to be destroyed, because they basically Iran's been paying 8-year-old and 10-year-old boys to be digging terror tunnels these last 5-6 years. These kids aren't going to school. They're on speed, on drugs that are being provided.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yes, they're being given, these young kids in Gaza are given very dangerous drugs and being told to dig tunnels for like $1 a week. And they're doing it. And we got to stop the whole entire thing over there. We must make sure women and children have a safe place to go to. We have to be compassionate, guys.
I understand the compassion. What I'm saying is to combat a culture of deep-rooted educational anti-Semitism against and a deeply embedded hatred of the Jews is what you're also up against. That
Yes.
goes well beyond people who are just signed up to be
What?
Hamas terrorists.
Well, I think that,
And a lot of people say, "Oh, you free Gaza from Hamas," but then you might be left with people very, very. We don't know the numbers of people who simply just want to coexist versus people who do support.
I could tell you
You know,
what I think
I don't
based
know.
on my
That's just an unknown to
interactions
me.
with Arabs in Jerusalem, right?
Yeah. Can we talk about
I'm
that?
very excited to hear that because I've
Yeah.
never heard anyone who actually talks to Arabs talk about this.
Yes, I, you know how like I don't hold back and I just say like I just go.
So what's the environment, especially in the weeks
Tell us,
after,
tell
in the
us,
days
tell us.
after October 7th, and the weeks
Yeah.
after October 7th,
Right.
between your Arab neighbors and you?
So obviously you and your wife have a conversation where it's like I
In
think
your
Israel should
perspective.
offer people to return to like a Dubai-like version of Gaza. You know where they build it up. You know we need to build like an international place of tourism over there where people can come and there's beaches and
It
it's,
would be. I mean, I like to imagine this idea of a Gaza Strip that is like a beach town that Israelis can go in and go to hotels
Sure.
there. You know,
if you look at like Yafo, Tel Aviv, it's like basically mixed Arabs and Jews. And guess what? It's a very peaceful place. And the beaches there have hotels and humans, and it's thriving and it's full with life.
and animals.
Yes.
Let's not forget last episode.
There are some rare animals that I've spotted over time.
Yeah.
And
They got it all.
It's a different hat I wear, a rare animal spotter. But yes, there's no reason for the Gazan community. We shouldn't even be focused on what happens to them after the fact. We should be focused on the fact now that no nation opened up their door for them. Egypt's not letting them in. Israel's not letting them in. Like, where are we going to put these people while we destroy Gaza? So it has to be something besides killing women and children. Please, for the Jewish people have to talk like this.
Yeah, you mean
It's nice to be able to talk like that, and at the same time talk about, but we also cannot have a ceasefire, and we also have a job to do that at the same time, not like either or. At
It's
the
not
same
even
time,
like
it's,
that's
it's
right.
very refreshing. to
People
hear.
don't realize this. Like,
There
it's
we
not
go.
a mutually exclusive idea. It's mutually. It's in fact one basically solves the other. You can only have peace and prosperity by eliminating the entities that are against those things. Peace and prosperity, and Hamas is against those things. So, like the principle at play here is that the only way to get to peace is to eliminate those who do not want peace. And Hamas is very explicit that they don't. They don't want peace for Gazans. They don't want peace for Israelis. They want death and destruction, especially particularly of the state of Israel, but of the West. So
They want to take hard drugs and just chop off heads.
so I think to get rid of them is what, if people who are talking
We
about free
have to.
Palestine and freeing innocent men, women, and children in Gaza, you have to talk about eliminating the people who have oppressed them, which is Hamas, which I understand. But I don't know what else. What else is going on?